It's the start of a new training block for me, and today I'm doing some testing on the bike. Now, today I'm doing 3 tests, a 3-minute, a 6-minute, and a 12-minute test, all in the same day. My last training block was 4 weeks and ended up averaging around 28.5 hours. I talked about one of those weeks in a previous video. Then I had a bit of a deload week, which came in around 17 hours of training. And yeah, now we're here. Yesterday I did like a little activation ride with some opening efforts just to loosen the legs up, and yeah, today's gonna hurt. Just a 12-minute done. I finished 2 minutes ago. Hopefully more than 2 minutes ago. That really hurt. That test was up on last year. The 3-minute and the 6-minute I'm not super happy with, but like it's more about how all 3 tests relate to each other, so it'll be interesting to see what data I get back as like the bigger picture. But yeah, could be happier. So it's the next day, and I figured I'd go over everything I tried to say yesterday, because after the efforts I was in a hole, and I don't think I made that much sense. So my testing yesterday, I was following the inside PPD protocol, which involves 4 tests. There's a 20-second one, which I did a few days ago, and then the other 3, which I did yesterday, were a 3-minute, a 6-minute, and a 12-minute test. So the purpose behind this inside testing is that it gives you a full metabolic profile, which is something you would otherwise have to go into the lab to get. Now, there are some differing opinions on the validity of it, but I find value in it, in the numbers that it gives me, and it's also good to be able to compare my results with the testing I've done previously. So that's why I'm doing it, and yeah, I find a lot of it helpful. Also, since I last came up this climb, they've repaved the road and it is gorgeous. It's just like this all the way, and it used to be horrible. So it's now a week later, and I filmed a load of stuff about the tests I was doing, how they went, why I was doing them, and I was going to dive into the analysis of them, what's changed, and what I've done in my training for that change to happen. But then I got the results back, and they were a bit underwhelming, to be honest, in the sense that I'm pretty much exactly in the same place as I was 12 months ago. And the point of this video that I had in my head completely changed, which is why I'm now just talking to a camera while I'm doing a bit of stretching. So I'm basically in the same place as I was in March 2022 in terms of my fitness on the bike. But that is not all bad, because March 2022 was the fittest that I was for all of 2022. Fitter than when I raced the Ironman World Champs, fitter than the races where I got my pro license. March 2022 was literally my peak for last year. And there's a good reason for that. Last year I trained really well over the winter. I was aiming for the Ironman World Champs. Got to a really good level in March, which is where I did the testing, and then my fitness dropped off. So the fact that I'm now back there at that level is a good thing. And the difference this year is that I'm gonna do my very best to maintain that fitness through racing. So that's where the point of this video has changed, rather than kind of being about the details of my testing and the level maybe I've now moved to, because that hasn't changed. This video, and probably the title of this video, is now something like the secret to holding fitness through a season, and that is not getting hit by a car. So if you followed me on Instagram around this time, you probably already know what happened, because I banged on about it then, and you're probably annoyed that I'm bringing it up again now. But for those that don't know, shortly after I carried out these tests last year, and shortly before I was due to start racing, I got hit by a car. Whether or not the impact that had on my body was still affecting me a couple of months later, possibly not. It's difficult to know exactly what's going on inside, but what it did do is completely derail my training at quite a critical time. And the truth is, I never got back to that level. I never reached that point that I was, although in my head, I tried to convince myself that I was still in that shape that I had. I just wasn't. I wasn't able to train at that level, and I certainly wasn't able to race at that level. You know, although I wanted to believe that I got back to the level that I was I really didn't. So it's difficult to know how much of an effect the crash itself had on me, but it was a catalyst for the drop in performance that I experienced throughout the rest of the year. And you might be saying, well, that's all well and good, but I'm sure you weren't hoping to get hit by a car last year. And of course I wasn't, but I'm doing something differently this year. And it brings me to the conclusion of this reworked video. So the big secret for me this year is that I am delighted to announce that I have partnered with Exposure Lights. I ride with them all the time now, feel so much safer. Also have them on my TT bike, and it makes a world of difference to, well, I'm sure it makes a tangible difference to how visible I am and how safe I am, but also makes riding so much more enjoyable for me. Obviously they don't have an effect on people driving poorly, but it makes me visible and therefore has a tangible effect on the level of my own safety, which is huge and obviously the main reason. But in addition to that, they also allow me to enjoy riding so much more. I feel so much safer, something I didn't even realise was happening until I put them on my bike. And I suddenly feel so much more relaxed. You know, I'm not constantly terrified that the car in the corner of my eye is just going to pull out in front of me. Still aware, I still ride safely, but there's no longer this lingering anxiety that I didn't realise I had. So they've made a huge difference. Head over to Exposure, best in the business, I firmly believe that. And this video has obviously turned into a bit of a plug, but I stand by it. I did a lot of editing that has not ended up in this whole thing. But yeah, genuine coaching tip is stay upright on your bike, because it does have an impact. Crashing takes a lot to recover from, and you can never really know how much of an effect it has. So stay safe on the road, don't take risks when you're out training, and be wary of cars, because you know they're big metal boxes and they really hurt if they hit you. So yeah, stay safe, and maybe a more well-planned video will be the next one. So yeah, catch you in a bit. Peace.